Well, we've been challenging at this time of this transition.
Enlightening
Information.
thoughtfulness and increase our perceptiveness to face the challenges of the times ahead.
Okay. All right. So how's things been? It's been a week, missing a week here and a week there, but we are always connected and always together again. To our wonderful listeners out there, we also want to share a number. It's a WhatsApp number. It's 410-9212. If you want to call in and participate in the conversation. Also, the phone line, studio line is 4399700. All right, so we've been talking a lot about community and development of our country, and tonight we will be talking about something a little bit more serious, something a little bit more heart wrenching for some of us, and hopefully we can educate some of our people about what is happening and some of the things that we should be doing or should not be doing. And I think the topic tonight, we're going to be talking about some of the pristine places here in Grenada, different locations, different sites in Grenada that has been under the scope for development. And we want to talk about why maybe we should reconsider and what's really going on. So, Brother Amen, I'll come over to you to find out, what's it?
Pleasant evening. Well, yeah, we're looking at what's happening in Libera, Lassages, and Mount Hartman in particular, and we see that it's because of lack of knowledge of our wealth is contributing to the destruction of these places. So we wanted to spend this session, just looking at what's important. I'm sharing what is the riches of Grenada, right? Now, let me just jump in the middle of it, right? We'll be looking at Libera wetland. We're just going to look at for a minute why Libera wetland is important. We're going to look at wetlands in particular, in general. But Libera wetland, in 2012, Grenada Minister of the Environment signed on to a treaty called the Ramsar, R-A-M-S-A-R, Ramsar Treaty in 2012. And if you go online, you'll find it. And Grenada signed on to that treaty and declared Libera wetland to be the first of many wetlands to be protected. And they give here some information which I'd like to read on Libera. Okay, this is not my information, this is Ramsar information. It says Ramsar site is covering 518 hectares or 450 or so acres. Libera wetland, National Protected Area, St. Patrick's, a unique representation of an almost entire pristine ecosystem. A unique representation of an almost pristine ecosystem, including a mangrove swamp, sandy beaches, coral reefs, seagrass bed, and an offshore island. The site hosts the critically endangered species leatherback turtles, the Moschilus coryciae, hawksbill turtles, Estrosicilis imbricate, elkhorn coral, Acropura palmata, and the endemic Grenada hookbill kite, which depends on forest habitats including wooden freshwater swamps and mangrove swamps. It is of particular significance as a nesting of the leatherback turtle, receiving from 200 to 900 nesting activities annually, supporting at least 1% of the individuals of these species. The major human-induced pressures on the ecological values of the Libera protected area include fishing activities which impact populations of fishes and non-target species, improper solid waste disposal, predation or competition from introduced species, and alteration of marine and terrestrial ecosystem. And this is the Ramsar site number 2034, and the most recent information that was given was in 2012. So here we have Grenada with the Ramsar Treaty in 2012 signing on to say that because of the preciousness and the relevance of Levera to the life form, to these, in some cases, endangered species life form. And we know that we have the Grenada dove. The Grenada dove lives in the area. It's the only bird of its kind on the planet. And that this wetland, Levera in particular, supports these life forms there. Okay? So I want to pause, let's get some more contributions on that, on why was Levera declared to be a protected site in 2012, that no building should go on there, no solid waste, no effluent from human activities, no overfishing, respect for the turtle, etc., etc. Why did we declare that this place is to be protected?
All right. First of all, so what are wetlands, and what's the purpose of them? I mean, if it seems like it's this unique place, so what is so unique about our wetlands? Wetlands are areas where water covers the soil or is present either or near the surface of the soil all year for varying periods of time during the year, including during the growing season. So wetlands supports both aquatic and terrestrial species. Mm-hmm. It also, so that means because, for example, Grenada is one of the large industries here, it's the fishing industry. That's where the fish would have their babies. Mm-hmm. So if we destroy the wetland, that's the purpose of it. To be home to these, the fish to have their babies, to the birds to nest. Migration as well, as they travel from one, migrate during certain times, they can nest there because there's food there and they can have their babies there too as well. So those are some of the very important reasons why wetland is not just a spot. It's there for a reason. Nature put it there for a reason, and there are so many other reasons. The plants that grow in the wetland area don't grow anywhere else. Those plants, we also need them to be able to keep the life forms that would generate certain kind of ecosystem within our environments, to keep us as humans and our animals, reptiles, amphibians alive as well.
Mm-hmm. Let me just read something here that puts into context what you're saying there from the United States Environmental Agency, right? They have a website, mm-hmm. and they're talking about wetlands and nature. And they're saying here that wetlands are among the most productive ecosystems in the world, comparable to rainforests, mm-hmm. and coral reefs, with an immense variety of species of microbes, plants, insects, amphibians, reptiles, birds, fish, and mammals. They all can be a part of the wetland ecosystem. Climate, landscape, shape, topography, geology, and the movement and abundance of water help to determine the plants and animals that inhabit each wetland. And the complex dynamic relationships among the organisms inhabiting the wetland environment are called food webs. Wetlands can be thought of as biological supermarkets. They provide great volumes of food that attract many animal species. These animals use the wetland for part or all of their life cycle. Now, we know that the Leptotilia welsey use the area around the wetland. We know that the tortoise use, the turtle, leatherback turtle use the area. We know we have eagles, Grenada eagles, which are called chicken hawk, using the area. And a wide variety of birds that migrate, and that we have local residential birds, and we have birds that migrate, mm-hmm. right? And we talk about iguana, tattoo, armadillo. I don't know if monkeys come to the wetlands; they move up to the forest. But certainly, life does come out from these places. And wetlands are area which, in Grenada, our wetlands we talked about last year, just Mount Harper and Levera, they have a river or water course flowing through. They have a collection of water, freshwater pond areas. They have salt pond, sea collecting areas. they're usually in a valley between two headlands, and the riches of swamplands and the riches of mangrove and other trees. As you go from the wetland to the dry, you get different trees and you get animals inhabiting there. And we know these places are creative places, right? They're saying here that they are productive, they produce energy of life, and where creatures are born and live most or part of their life. And similarly, humans who visit wetland areas, bathe in these areas and receive the mineral and inhabit with the animals, feel the peace of the trees and enjoy nature, refreshing their psychology and their energy. The humans who do that live well and live wealthy. And these places provide for those who eat fish and lobster and crabs, food for those who like the breadfruit and the yam. There is food in these areas for humans. And when we say we are independent in Grenada, when we poor, but we don't starve, it's because these pristine areas provide food where people, if things bad, you can go to these biological supermarkets and find food for your family.
Yes, and it also helps to keep us during the dry season to ensure that the land has water, because we might not see it with our eyes nakedly, but what the wetland is able to do is to trap a certain amount of water to be able to send out to the land during the dry season, so those breadfruit trees and other trees and stuff can carry on with their lives during the dry season.
Hence the lake. I mean, the functions of wetland, I'm reading again from the United States Environmental Agency site. The function of wetlands and the value of these functions to humans, you're talking about these pristine places left alone have value to us.
Yes.
Depends on a complex set of relationships between the wetland and other ecosystems in the watershed. And we just talk about the water, the water, that filters the water, that act as a reservoir for times of dry. Also, that is connected through the channels under Grenada, under the rock, there's channels, as we know. And these wetlands serve as a breeding and an exchange of energy through the water.
Right.
Okay, and upon this depends on our lifestyle. Now, when we go and build in these areas, when we go and build, whether we have 10 different cottages with 10 different pools with all that chlorine and filter, laundry water, dishwasher, bleach, all soap water, washing down into the mine and washing down into the lakes, washing down into the beaches. When we have this happening, we're destroying this.
We're destroying this. And before we even get to building, in order for you to build in these areas, you have to dig really, really deep, and then you have to bring in maybe soil from somewhere else, and then you have to put in a ton load of concrete in order to get in stones from elsewhere, in order to get solid enough land to be able to build safely. Because if you just build on this type of land in a hurricane season, or if excessive rain season, then whatever you build in these areas are at risk of flooding and washing away as well. So it is not even a safe idea for anyone to build anything in these areas, because you'd have to damage the area so much in order to get it to a place where a building state where it is safe enough for you to live there. Right. Because it's not a place for people to live like that.
Right, and we need to educate our leaders and educate or but I'm going to talk to other leaders in a minute. We need to educate our leaders. We need to educate the developers and we need to educate the investors about what is happening. You see, it is possible that the people who are spending $200,000 US to get a passport and a room that they can pass on to their children, etc., do not realize what is being done, the destruction being done to the pristine wetland, the protected wetland in Grenada, the place where all scientists and anybody who go there, anybody who visit the Welcome Stone and see the pristine beauty of Grenada and understand life, understand the connection to life, understand that the turtle have a right to life too, understand that the Leptoteria wellsea, the Grenada dove, with its peaceful, loving characteristics, have a right to life too. That the ants that is being killed under the concrete slabs and the tractor tracks, those have a right to life too. We are not only speaking on the behalf of the Grenadian people and Grenadians who love their lifestyle, We are speaking up on the behalf of all the other creatures who inhabit the mangrove swamp. The trees can speak and say, don't bulldoze me. In Lhasa Jess, all the mangrove trees were bulldozed and none of them could speak, and nobody spoke to stop it. And we are saying that this is the time we need to speak for our people to realize, the developed to realize, the tractor drivers to realize that this is a crime against nature, a crime against humanity, and an act of destruction of Grenada's pristine places, and by extension, the planet. Grenada is connected to the planet. The Leptotelia welsey, though confined to our physical dry boundaries, is part of the planet. So we are protecting Mother Earth, protecting our lives, protecting our country and this area of the dry land that we're on by leaving our wetlands alone.
And to keep in mind that you cannot move a wetland. Mother Nature put it there because that's the way it functions.
What the Chinese try to move a lake?
It's like taking the buttons of your shirt and put it on the end of the tail of your shirt.
And by the way, they're not listening. 4 times. This is the 4th time. 3 other previous projects to bulldoze Rivera had failed in the past.
And they still haven't realized that
I went up there to see. I want to invite you guys to come up there Saturday morning. We'll visit and take a look at what is happening in Rivera and what is happening from the Welcome Stone. See what is there. See the last of the best, and see whether you want to join us in saying no. See if you want to speak with our leaders and say to them by way of petition, no. We're not going to build on these places. These places need to be left pure for posterity. These places shape the character of Grenada. To lose these places would be lose our character of Grenada. To lose our free lifestyle, our independent, whatever we call that, lifestyle that we do have. The fact that our country, though poor in cash and capital, and perhaps we will always be poor and short on cash and capital, we are rich in food. We are rich in love. We are rich in peace. Yes, we are island of conflict. Yes, we have to rise up and defend this peace sometimes, as we have to do now. But we are a place of peace, tranquility, and value, and this is being threatened.
All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll hear from Brother Waynes. Again, folks, it is Burning Issues, and tonight we're talking about the pristine areas in Grenada that are under threat of development, that we think we should, as a people, recognize it for what it is and, help to keep it as is. Again, it is Burning Issues.
Leave it alone.
Yes, leave it alone. All right, so Brother Wayne, you hear with the conversation that we're having about all these pristine places here in Grenada. The wetlands are not unique to just Grenada alone. We have wetlands all over the world. Mother Nature put them there for a reason, as a matter of fact. They also helps us to prevent us, especially in a small island in this, to help us during periods of storm, hurricane. I don't know how many of us know that. But, you know, it's there for a reason, and it's positioned in that particular spot for a reason. So if we destroy that, we're also destroying the lives of ourselves, us the people. How are we gonna, you know, deal with hurricanes? How are we gonna deal with, you know, whatever comes along, the extensive dry periods of time when we have less water on the earth? You know, we have to deal with that. And without our animals or insects, and I don't know, people probably think that we can live without them because they seem like a nuisance to some. But without our insects and our animals and our birds, we also would not be able to survive on this beautiful island. So, yeah, what are your thoughts?
Leave it alone. It's very interesting, you know, listening and trying to digest, you know, you know, this, you know, man on the planet Earth. The planet Earth has an environment that is based upon sustainability and balance. And this environment took thousands of years to fashion. It's like you want to design, it's a plan. And I don't know who invite man to live on the planet Earth, but since he came, he has been, at first he started living in balance with the planet. But recently, we started a era called industrialization. And with industrialization came environmental destruction. And there is a price to pay. You know, I would not tell them to leave it alone, because, you know, they have, when you rape a woman, you cannot reverse the damage that you have done to that woman. Mentally, psychologically, spiritually, or physically. You cannot reverse rape. And we think that there is a way that you can just replace and repair. Mother Nature is not a woman that you can go and damage and one get away with it, and it will take thousands of years for she to and she will get rid of you first. And let it be known, we have examples all over the world. No, it has been done in America. They attacked the environment. Now the environment is attacking them. They went to Canada. They attacked the environment. Well, you see what's going on. It's going to fry them alive. I mean, it's not nothing new. And at this point in time, I think we cannot reverse what has been done in Las Vegas. all we're doing, because they have already raped the woman called Las Vegas, and they have damaged the woman called Las Vegas. But the woman called Las Vegas is a woman, when she's angry, she takes vengeance. And I can tell you, she knows what is vengeance. And her vengeance, she will require blood, a lot of blood. If we don't know the history of Las Vegas, I always say, you should go and find out. The French came and settled there, and they had to shed their blood. The British killed them there. And then the British start dying there. You know? So it is not nothing new. Whoever go and invade Las Vegas will die in Las Vegas. There is no kind of money that could create any could pay for the pain and the damage in Las Vegas. The spirits in Las Vegas, I know they're there. They're there. And we have destroyed their habitat because we don't understand. Animals, insects, and birds are manifestations of spirit, the spiritual realm. And when the spiritual realm is disturbed, the environment reacts. And as we have seen, we as humans do not properly analyze where we are. So it's like you live in a house, and every day you bring up piece in the house to cook your food. Eventually you'll be out of a house. And that is the problem. We have found ourselves in an environment which we have placed no value upon. What we have tried to do is to participate in an economic system that is not sustainable. That economic system always wages war on nature. And that economic system always loses the battle. There is no way that industrialization could survive by attacking the environment. And there's a lot of surprises for us in the very near future, and I could tell you that. Because the spirits in Livera, and the spirits in Las Angeles, and the spirits in Mount Hatman will team up, and they will teach humans what is the meaning of vengeance. And I can tell you, at this point in time, we act like if humans act, they're so stupid. I've never seen humans so stupid. You go into in Brazil, into the Amazon, and the Indians know the laws of life. In America, the Indians know the laws of life. In Australia, the natives know the laws of life. But this set of humans who have gone to schools and say they have education, they are the most stupid set of beings that ever occupy Earth. And in the pursuit for a shadow, an illusion, they have decided to attack the environment. Well, as you have seen in Miami, when the tower came tumbling down, it took a price. And imagine one tower decided to take 118 lives. And that is and they were warned, it's a small price to pay. Now they are discovering there are a lot of more towers that has gone up, that has solar palm condominiums for $1 million, and they cannot be occupied. So all the investors, all the so-called investors, they will get back $0. They won't get back the money, and they will get back zero interest on the investment. And that is the price you pay, because over the industrialization, greed has taken over man. There is no limit to what he wants. There is no limit to what he desires. And he has he passed laws. He makes laws to protect the environment, because Las Angeles was a protected environment. Livera was a protected environment. Mount Hatman was a protected environment. He has made laws to protect them, protect the women. There's true women, not man. The environment is a woman.
Feminine, yep.
And now he makes laws to reverse the laws that was protecting the environment. So now the environment is going to implement her laws for breaking the laws that you made. You made a promise. And you see, in all that there is spirituality. The Indians tell you everything about the environment is spirituality. If you go back to the Ifa, Orisha, they will tell you the fresh water is controlled by a spirit called Mama Oshun. Oshun. And the thing about it is that lack of knowledge. Oshun controls all fresh water in the whole world. The seawater is controlled by a spirit called Mama Emanja. So when you go and attack the environment, you're attacking a spiritual force, an ancient spiritual force, which the Africans had to respect. Now, Mama Oshun have two sides. So when you see the river running nice and calm, that's the nice side. She can bring you peace, she can bring you health, she can bring you wealth, she can bring you happiness and unity. That's Mama Oshun on she nice side. But when Mama Oshun get on she bad side, and she call up her brothers and her sisters, because she'll call up Mama Oya, who is the goddess of the wind, and Pupa Shang, who is the god of thunder and lightning, and they will create a storm and a hurricane, and then they will come and destroy that which you created, that which you cherish, that which you used to invade and rip the environment. They will come to destroy. So it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, we warning that this the consequence of what we're doing to the innocent ones will be revisited upon us. We're warning that investment in those areas will bring no profit to no one.
Zero.
Yeah.
The destruction of these places will profit no one, and no amount of money we print, no amount of money the human family can ever print, can ever give life to one ant. We have to understand what value is, and we're going to spend like a minute here talking about value. People wake up and see something. You have to wake up and see something, right? We have all agreed, right, in our innocence and in our ignorance. We have all agreed that that printed piece of paper with a slave master head on it, now turned in plastic, is valuable, right? We have all agreed that it is valuable. We all agreed that if you don't have that, you can't eat food. And hence the purity of Grenada, because if you don't have that, you can't eat food, you know you can go to the Livara areas, Mount Hartman, Lassages areas in Grenada and find your daily bread freely without the piece of paper. Taking away these pristine places from our people, putting in hotels, right, with bleach water, laundry water, soap water, chlorine pool water, effluents from cars and the mechanical machinery, the tramping of people up and down, the concrete and the tar in these places will produce a destruction for the purity and the lifestyle of these places, which we're trying to protect in the first place. Will produce destruction upon our quality of life, our physical quality of life, because we'll be eaten from tins and package and boxes which are cancerous, right? Will impact our social life, because when the habitat of the Leptotelia welsii Grenada dove is killed off and the dove no longer lives on the planet, that sweet piece that was unique to Grenada will also disappear and will become a gun town like the cities up there, with frustrations on all levels, gun crime on all levels, frustrated people, frustrated children, frustrated leaders. Why are we going to do this to ourselves? What is in the heads and the minds of our ministers to make them agree to destroy these pristine places? We're talking about creating economy and eating our food. Listen, this is sustainable economy. This is where Grenada has been getting food from since before Columbus landed here. Okay? Grenada has an alternative green gold economy. The Carib, the Arabs, the Carnaval people, Taino, who inhabited Grenada, was killed by the Europeans post 1498 for the green gold. The African slave, 10,000 miles from West Africa, etc., was brought to Grenada in slave ships for the green gold of Grenada. That's Grenada's riches. We have some of the best soils in the world. We have some of the best coffee, the best cocoa in the world. We have some of the best textiles in the world. We have the best food and drink. Every second bush is a cosmetic. Every third bush is a pharmaceutical, good for healing the body. We have these riches which we are ignoring in the name of holism, in the name of running after somebody else's wealth, attracting them in your pristine places, mashing it up to give them their lifestyle in our pristine places, and becoming servants and security and waiters and drawers and hewers for them. This is not sustainable. This is not our independence. This is not our lifestyle. This is not why we came here on earth. Our leaders deciding to destroy these pristine areas are contradicting the principles of life, contradicting the principles of humanity, contradicting the principles of animal and plant life, contradicting the principle of sustainable development. Right? We have alternative places in Grenada where the Citizen by Investment Program, the CBI program, can invest in. We have places previously built on, previously destroyed, great houses come down, places in the middle of town which have been burnt or abandoned or whatever, misused, which are awaiting investment, including your house. Okay, we have alternative places investors can build on. And we're saying, go ahead, change the laws, modify the situation, make everybody, all the stakeholders happy, and invest there. leave the pristine areas alone, and we're trying to send a clear message. And we want to invite you. We're doing a planning and trying to get together on Saturday around 10 o'clock in the morning time. Come to the Welcome Stone. Come and see for yourself. Go to Lassages, go to Libera, go to Monk Hartman, and see. Bring the family. See, explore what is make Grenada precious. As I always say, you know, Grenada is precious. That we have some of the richest people on the planet owning homes and coming to live here regularly and spend time here regularly, and we don't know why. We don't know what the richest people on this earth see. And I say richest, I mean printed piece of paper. Those who can afford to buy and sell, coming here and buying property in Grenada and staying here for a reason that we don't know, and we're busy running to their cities, to their decadence, to their sewers, to try to make our daily bread and thinking a piece of paper is our life. Yes, a piece of paper is supposed to give us a certain amount of luxury, but it cannot buy life. No amount of, and you need to make up on this fact. No amount of printed piece of paper could buy life, right? The turtles live in and breed and hatch in Libera. The buildings they put down there with all these swimming pools, it's going to poison the beach and poison the pristine sweetness of the water for the turtle and for the fish and for the coral and the other lives that live there. Okay? Putting in that building, I mean, please get the Chinese to rip up that building up there. Take out the building construction things and remove themselves of the planet. Our government needs to get a team to go in there and clean up. And the people who they're having selling the sites, real estate sites on the east of Libera, need to stop it. Alright? There's a certain amount of destruction done now. We need to stop and halt right now and reverse the destruction up there. It is not development, people, it's a destruction. And the Chinese are going to be using all the technology to tame a wetland. They will try to turn Libera Lake into a ski resort. What madness! All the effluents from the house and the buildings when it goes directly into Libera Lake. This is our protected national park.
And okay.
Where's our leaders?
Okay, folks.
Where's our scientists? Where's our teachers? Where's our people who understand what life is?
All right, Brother Amen. I see you're passionate about it. So, folks, there we have the Save Lavera and other pristine places in Grenada. It says visit Grenada Fireside and petition event, and there's a couple of event planned for the coming weeks. First, it's July 31st, Saturday, at Bartway Welcome Center, St. Patrick's. And on Sunday, the 1st of August, they're going to be in Lassages, St. David. On the 7th of August, they'll be in Mount Otman, St. George. And on the 8th of August, they'll be in Coral Cove. That's Coral Cove, St. George. And the plans to have a press conference at about 11 a.m. and conversations and story about 12 noon. So, you know, talking about the areas, the different areas. It says, let's work together to protect Grenada. Bring the family, enjoy side touring, the beautiful power of pristine places and acres of national park. Feel the power and refreshing energies of our pure natural spaces. And again, the times or Saturday the 31st of July at Bathway, Sunday the 1st of August, Lassages, the 7th of August, that's a Saturday, at Mount Upman, and Sunday the 8th of August, Coral Cove. Alright, so we're going to take another quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more on the subject. We're talking about saving some of these pristine places here in Grenada that's under development.
Let the people in the world today don't realize that worries don't pay. Resting the worries upon your shoulder, only bringing you older and older. These wicked things that people just do, you don't realize you have worries. Tell them to never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard.
I will deliver and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show my salvation.
The workers of iniquity dig a pit for me. Now they wear a team for me to fall in. Trying to take my bread and butter with lies and propaganda. But they're fooling, they only fooling. I will not be afraid of what man can do to me. Man, you see, is only vanity. You see, who God bless, no man curse. He shall never hunger or thirst. Who God bless, no man shall ever curse. He shall be first. He shall be first. Lord.
There's also a WhatsApp number 410-9012 if you want to participate in the conversation. We're talking about saving the pristine areas here in Grenada, and we're talking specifically tonight about La Vera, and it is a wetland here in Grenada. And one of the reasons why it is so important for us to really consider what it is that we're doing. You know, the wetland is so important. It's a flood buster. And if you look at the setup of the way Grenada is designed, the island is designed, and see, you know, just a little bit of rainfall, and we already have problems with flooding. So, you know, water, unless, you know, water is managed properly, then we can certainly run into problems easily. It says that wetlands associated with streams and rivers, and this, you know, it slows down flood water by acting as a giant shallow pan. You know, so it helps to buffer, as a buffer when there's excess water as well. So it is so important for us to leave this wetland. You know, these are the things that we need to advise our people about. This is what we need to teach our young people, that it's not that we are making a big deal because, you know, this is this big area of land here that we're saying shouldn't be used because it's pretty. We're saying it is so important to the survival of the people on the islands. Yeah, Brother Asad?
See, they say fools rush in with wise men fail to tread. And in the abundance of water, the fool is thirsty. And I think that is the position where we find ourselves in as a country. We inherited an island from, I don't know, from the slave master.
From God.
The slave master, because really actually we don't really belong here. We come from a place called Africa, but by the will of the Almighty, we are given some rights to this piece of property. And instead of doing our best to preserve it, we try to get involved in a game. And it's a game of Russian roulette with Mother Nature, an economics game. It is said before this industrial revolution, 90% of workers worked in the agricultural industry, and 10% worked in industries and building. With the industrial revolution, you have 10% of people doing farming and 90% of people in the building boom, or you call in the industrial revolution. So what you have is centralized production of food. And that is why over the years we no longer eat food. We eat junk. We eat belly food. We don't eat nutrition. Now, you see, let me jump to the wetlands. No, Grenada, every country has its environment. If you notice, when you go to Trinidad, the clothes in Trinidad are not the clothes in Grenada.
True.
When you go to America, the clothes in America are not the clothes in India. It's for America. The clothes in New York City is not the clothes in Washington. You know, we should go and we don't observe nature, because in Grenada, in the clothes resides the spirits that govern, manage the affairs environmentally in the country. So according to our behavior, you will find the clouds responding, the wind responding according to our behavior. Now the wetland have a number of purposes. One of the purposes, it acts like an air condition unit, right? It's an air condition unit for our environment. And that is what it has been put there, as an air condition unit.
Thank you.
So that when the heat comes down, the wetland with the trees and the water would absorb the heat and disperse water vapor that would go up and then attract clouds. And the clouds will become heavy with the water vapor that came from the wetland as a result of the heat from the sun. So when the clouds come over Grenada, the water vapor will make the clouds heavy, and then you will generate rain. So you understand the cycle. It's a cycle that they never explain to us. No, the trees in the wetland is designed as a buffer. What it does is that when the wind comes off the sea with the salt, what it does, it slows down the wind so that the wind doesn't go and dry up the soil where we have to plant our food. I want us to understand something. It's an environment. You understand? So when you take down the trees or the edges of the island, you are exposing the island to winds that will create drought in the country. We will negatively affect the rainfall of the country. So that's one way. You say acts as a filter, so that when rain falls in the mountain, the trees are supposed to slow down the water,
And
so that too much
purify it as well.
and purify it, so much silt would not find itself down to the sea. You understand? And then whatever silt reaches the shore would not get into the sea because of the wetland. You know, you go to school for pre-primary, primary, secondary, and college, and they tell you nothing about these environments. But your life depends on it. You understand? In addition to that, the wetland, especially in Lasages, was designated, when I made an intervention a couple of years ago, an international bird sanctuary. A bird sanctuary. A bird sanctuary is a place where it's designated by the birds as a resting place as they migrate from one part of the globe to the next, making whatever contribution that they make to the environment. I want us to understand these things, because you go about enjoying the trees, and we log and we don't know who planted the trees. Now the birds have been the planters of trees for thousands of years. Now the same birds that enable us to have trees that we can turn into logs, that we can turn into wood, that we can build our houses and live in comfort. You go into the place where the birds nest and multiply, and you destroy it, and then you expect to live in your comfortable houses that the birds technically built for you. So the wind, the birds, the spirit of the birds will call up the spirits from the motherland, which is Africa, out of the desert, to send a wind, which she will turn into a hurricane. Because the birds send on, because the birds float on the wind. Now the birds cannot find place to rest. So what you have done, you have interrupted the process. You have caused a breach. You have you have destroyed the cycle. Because once you destroy, you interrupt the cycle, then you cannot have an end. If you block the spring, then you cannot have a river. And if you don't have a river, then you cannot have a lake. So the people downstream, they will die from thirst because you interrupted the flow of the spring. And that is what we are doing at this point in time. Now, the wetland again is a place, so the birds come lay in the wetlands. So they come from North America when North America is cold. They come down to the Caribbean and they lay the eggs in Las Vegas and they spend some time there, and some of them go down to South America and visit the family down there, and they move back up to North America in the summer with their young. They don't leave them in Las Vegas, right? And then what you have is that fishes lay the egg. We just have this thing called TTV. We don't know where TTV come out. We don't know. It's so much things that this lunatic school system and this ignorant, crazy people who call themselves teachers and education masters. I don't know what is their purpose. What is their purpose? It's like the sending the fool for and blind leading the blind. And we think we're happy. It's like the people in Miami living, they bought this condo, living in luxury. Now the sea's right there, but they put a pool in the middle of the building, up on top of a garage, a swimming pool. Fools rushing. Well, wise men, and they bought these buildings. You understand? It's not like they're renting. They bought this building as they buy a house. But it's only a fool that will buy an apartment in a building. Because cement only have a guarantee of 25 years. This building has been standing there for 40 years. There is no way you could repair a concrete building. Once the life expires, it has to be torn down. That is why they tell them $15 million to repair it. It's not like a tree. It's that they cut a branch and it will grow back. This is a concrete building. And they would not listen because they are living there for 40 years in luxury. Because these people, quite obviously, they must be racist people, because even there are no black people living in that building, because one of these apartments is about $1 million. So whoever built this building, take the money 40 years ago and run with it. So this building doesn't have an owner. I'm sure you have an insurance company, an insurance policy, who somebody's going to carry that insurance, and I don't think the people who die, if they don't have personal insurance, they will get paid. And this is what man set up. So they don't have a swimming pool in a building that is going to collapse because the concrete started deteriorating, and then the steel start getting wet, and the steel start expanding 4 times its size, so it bursts the concrete. There is no way you could repair that. And these people decided not living. So imagine they rather die because they have been sold a lie. They have been sold an illusion. And this is exactly what we're doing in Grenada with the environment. So welcome, my friends. You will experience Mother Nature in her fury that you would not dream of such fury. You see it in America. She's frying them alive. This because they came and they destroyed our environment. They have established their concrete jungle. There are no trees to create oxygen. Trees that create oxygen. I hear people on the internet talking about a set of building and say beautiful. And there's nothing about a building that is beautiful, fools. There's nothing about a building that's beautiful. A city cannot be beautiful. A city is an interruption to our existence.
Amen.
You never see, there is nothing in a city that generates. Imagine a human being saying concrete is beautiful, but they expect the trees to produce oxygen for them to breathe. I mean, it's only a fool that does that. It just doesn't make sense. You understand? Trees is, so the more buildings you see, is the more your existence is threatened. And that is a price that we're about to pay. And they say, wet your house when your neighbor one is on fire. Well, you see your neighbor one is on fire. The people, look at, there are people in America with a beautiful Lamborghini and all them high, nice building with swimming pool. And Papa Fire said, I'm coming to take the price you have to pay. And Papa Fire, there is no fireman and no fire company who could quench that fire of vengeance. It's a spirit. And he takes 40 or 50 years to wake up. But when he wake up, and don't think he's not going to visit Grenada. They always say we have a underground volcano called Kikamjini. Well, the other pass. And, you know, it is beyond your imagination. What will happen when Kikamjini is a spirit? And that spirit, when it wakes up, a lot of people will die. Cities will be submerged under all this concrete you're seeing on the coast, and in all these industries on the coast. It's just a matter of time before they are what?
Okay.
Gone
All right,
into the.
folks, we're gonna have to get ready to wrap things up here again. It is very
So thank you very much.
Yeah, time always short, you know, in these instances. So hopefully, you know, the right people are listening.
They
You know, on the message.
Listen, we're going to continue next week because we need to get
the
people to understand what's really going on, you know?
Yes, it is serious. I mean,
You know?
destroying a wetland in any country,
The last of our wetlands.
especially a place as small as Grenada, and a place that's designed the environment, like Mr. Azad said, you know, a country with this type of environment where already we can see that, you know, water, you know, could be a problem whether we have too much of it or not enough of it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's something we should really, really take into consideration of how we're going to survive if we do not have, you know, these wetlands to help us, because they are there for a reason. Mother Nature placed them there for a reason.
And what I noticed is that we're building affordable housing for our citizens in correct places, inland. I think there is problems with proper drainage and so on and so forth. But we're not destroying pristine places
Yeah, and at least you can
to build for our locals.
Yes.
So why destroy the pristine places for foreigners?
Yes.
Right? Citizen by investment, you're a citizen of Grenada by investment. You're not, that don't mean you're entitled to destroy the pristine places in Grenada. Okay? So, I mean, and if you look at Google Earth, if you go to Google Earth people and Google Liberal, I suggest Manhattan, you can see the pristineness of Grenada. You can see where our buildings, there's much buildings are in Grenada at the moment. I would like to know what is the new population count. There is much more than 100,000 people in Grenada, unless each person have a house, because it looks like there's much more than 100,000 houses I'm watching here. And our population has grown, our density has grown, the amount of buildings we have has grown, and we need to have a limit. We cannot concrete the whole of Grenada.
And something that somebody had said is that there are ton loads of derelict buildings. If you drive, you know, heading up to St. Patrick's from the western side, you can see on the way, I mean, they're like, you know, beautiful properties that has been left over the years, derelict, no one's living in them. And I think that if somebody's coming into our islands, into our space to live, they should live our culture. So that means, you know, we don't have high-rise buildings here, you know, so they should come in and live in small little houses like we do, and cook oil dung like we do. And if they want to bring a little bit of theirs to share with us, then that's fine. But we shouldn't have to change our way of life to accommodate these types of lifestyles that they are bringing.
It's wonderful to see two 16-story buildings, 500 rooms in Liberia. That is horrible. It is not wonderful to see concrete in Liberia. It is hard. Right now the Chinese have concreted up there. We have given them permission, and they're raping up the land, and all the effluents going into that pond is incorrect. and I want people to go there and see
And
it for
see it.
themselves.
And as a matter of fact, recently we had a walk around in the lower area close to where the turtles would do their nesting on the beach side, and where they have started a development. And one of the things that you could notice, you don't have to be a scientist, you don't have to be an engineer, you don't have to have much sense besides just walking there. You'll realize that it is a wetland. You're walking and the water is just coming at you. And you see where they would have dug already, and all around the buildings are covered with water. You know, they have buildings with little pools and stuff, and they're all filled with water. And there's water everywhere. And you could see water trickling and running towards the ocean, because that's the
nature of the area is a
nature of the
watershed.
area.
As I
So
said,
exactly.
The mountain and the Welcome Stone Mountain catches water and
send
channels
it
all
down.
down to be there.
You know?
And the water is filtered and so on. And even all the rocks on the mountainside going down, once you go on the bottom side of the rock and you press, you will see a little pool of water
You
right
see a
there.
little pool of water, and everything up
Naturally,
there is nice
for
and
animals,
cool, and
for people.
you know.
This place
So,
should not be
be
touched.
touched
There should be
at
no
all.
building at all except to
And-
admire a footpath or two. That's about it.
And this is not about the fact that it's a beautiful place and we don't want to interfere with it. It serves a purpose.
It serves a
Nature,
purpose. With
Mother
your beauty.
Nature put it there for a reason. It's like having a fire escape on a building.
It's Grenada's purity, and when you take away
Yeah.
the purity of Grenada, where would pure Grenada be? When you destroy what you recognize is your wealth, how will you live? When you burn down your house to make firewood, what kind of a sustainable living is this?
Like a woman walking around
Right?
without clothes.
And,
Yeah.
and the science of food, earlier on you talked about the birds, and I suggest we'll talk about that more. Our scientists say that there are at least 73 species of migratory birds which use lasages.
Yes.
What happened to the birds now?
Yes. What's going to happen to the birds when we put in all that?
Where will
type
all
of
that Totilia
development?
Wellesley be? Where would all peace
Yeah.
and lovingness and kindness be?
and
People
you know-
wake up.
And if we have looked at all the other developed countries around the world who have concreted a large amount of their spaces in the early
Look
when,
at the
you know,
lifestyle in the
when,
cities.
when especially during the industrialized era, like Mr. Brother Wayne would have mentioned. Now they're kind of backtracking a little bit and hope that they would have incorporated more green space.
They want to plant trees everywhere.
Now they want to
Planting
plant
trees
trees
is a big thing in the
everywhere.
cities now.
Yes,
People all over
people are all
they
over.
drive where any place again, they want to put in trees.
They want to put in trees.
We want to destroy ours.
And
What
we
happened to us?
also see where our people, we can see for ourselves where our elderly are not as healthy as they could have been, based on the fact that they would have grown up and worked into these cities and stuff like that. And why you think when people finish work and everything, they talk about they want to go back to the islands. They want to go back to the islands because there is tree and river and stream and oxygen is here.
What kind of
Without-
educated people do we have?
Yeah.
I think our ministers and all our leaders in Grenada, all our 15 ministers, are highly educated people. How could highly educated people be destroying the planet? How could highly educated people be destroying Libera? I don't understand this. To make employment in destroying your wealth? What kind of a ministers would employ people to destroy their wealth in the short term? And people are now employed in the green gold. People can get a daily bread, right? What kind of educated ministers do we have?
Yeah, but
what education they're talking
Yeah,
about?
but we also have evidence that these types of employment are very, very short term. They're very in the short term because it's only during the building process that our local people are employed in these types of situations. We have to go back, so we got to think about the fishermen who are here day to day, every day, a lifetime of it. Where they're gonna get fish if we destroy the fish habitats? You know what I'm saying? So we're in a backward thinking. But anyway, Brother Amen, I know you have so much more to say. There's so much more you want to say.
Our illustrious leader is a statistician of international import. I want to know how much money it takes to give life to one ant on the Welcome Stone. How much money we have to print to give life to one ant on the Welcome Stone. I'll see you next week.
All right, folks, so we're going to have to leave it right there for tonight. Again, it was Brennan. It's a pleasure being here. And we say thanks to Brother Amen and Brother Wayne. And also to our technician, Lila G. Thank you so much.
Technical engineer.
All right, so on behalf of the crew, we say until next time, be blessed.
I was talking to Mandela the other day.
So, you was talking to Nelson Mandela?
Not Nelson Mandela, it's a Kariga Mandela boy.
Oh, the man from Network Uramba.
Right. He was telling me that they were having problems with the Calypso fraternity in getting them to understand and recognize that Rapso is poetry in Kaiso. He said they couldn't recognize that Rapso is talking Kaiso rather than singing Kaiso.
So what do you do, boy?
Well, they encouraged me to do a Rapso.
So we don't sing Rapso.
True, but let me call it Jamu Rapso then. I Listen, I want to live. I want to live. I want to live as Jesus lived. I mean, just as Jesus lived. I want to live. Identical. But Lucifer, the old devil that he is, don't want me to live as Jesus lived. I mean, day after day, every day he just trying to pull me away from the straight way to the broad way. But me a going no way. I love the straight way. Me ain't want no broad way. All them jumbie coming, trying to pull me away. All them demons coming, trying to lead me astray. Ay, 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 ay. Hold me, Jesus, hold me in your arms. Hold me, Jesus, hold me in your arms. Don't let me go. No, no, no. Don't let me go. No, no, no. Don't let me go. We have been deceived, totally deceived. We were made to believe that Lucifer is a fella in a red body fitting suit. Youth, that ain't the truth. Satan is a brute, and that is the truth. He ain't had no tail, he ain't had no horns, he ain't had no fork in his hand. Man, that description of Satan is to my vision of the true manifestation in man and woman. As a check the plan is a devious plan for your destruction. All they who say that Jesus is the way and wouldn't obey what the Lord say, I say Satan go sway to his own way. They go walk out with Bible and briefcase in hand, trying to convert man to their religion, offering freedom when they themselves are the servant of corruption. You understand? But anytime the conversation is more about the religion than the creator of the creation, they're working for Satan. You understand? Any man who offer you salvation and don't point you to Jesus Christ, the great I am, the word of God, I mean the Holy Bible man, which is the power of God unto salvation, but want you to join he denomination, want you to be a part of he religion. Listen, the boss is the dragon.
This is Caribbean Vibes.
All them jumbie saying, I am a victim of negromancy. They say two Hindu pundit walk on me.
Not two Ross, it's three.
All them jumbies saying I have a shanty home spirit on me. Ay, 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 ay. Hold me, Jesus, hold me in your arms. Ay, 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 oh. Hold me, Jesus, hold me in your arms. Yeah, don't let me go. No, no, no. Don't let me go. live like a brute, and that is the truth. Youth, adultery and fornication was my addiction. Woman and more woman was Satan's plan for my destruction. But I found salvation. Thanks be to Jesus Christ, the great I am, who died for my condemnation and rose again from the dead for my justification. I found salvation. That's why I say, I want to live. I want to live. I want to live as Jesus lived. I mean, just as Jesus lived. I want to live identical. But Lucifer, the old devil that he is, don't want me to live as Jesus lived. You see, day after day, every day, just day, trying to pull me away from the straight